Welcome to In the Know. Seekers out there, those who seek knowledge and news about the Middle East that you cannot find anywhere, and let's dig deeper with analysis as well with the conflicts taking place in the Middle East now is the war on Gaza, the Israeli Palestinian war, as we call it. Well, today, apparently, someone has given humanity a kiss back to life because the situation, the humanitarian situation in Gaza is totally awful. They have been starved as well as sieged as well as tortured, basically. If we get to think about how those people sleep at night, that's not even questionable. They don't even sleep. We have been witnessing this war for more than a year, and one of the tactics that Israel is using and one of their plans to end this conflict is to starve people to either death or to be forcibly moved out of their lands to neighboring countries, and that's of course Egypt and Jordan. This takes us to the mediating role Egypt and Jordan have been taking in that conflict, and this would explain King of Jordan's visit to Trump or to the US in the White House, and this would explain the tension now taking place between the US and Egypt, for instance. But let's dig deep to what took place today. Yes, that's a big yay, that's finally some humanitarian aid is getting into the people, into the Gaza Strip for the Palestinians out there that have been suffering this war for too long. Let's dig deeper and see exactly with analysis who has the credit for that and who will still stall and take this war as long as it can be. Did this happen? Did the humanitarian aid get into Gaza today? Well, slight aid, okay, today into Gaza because of US pressure, as the news has been mentioning? Well, I don't think so. That's a big thank you to Europe. That's actually a big thank you to Europe. There has been a report, a joint statement that has been released today by Britain, Canada, and France. Finally, a joint statement. And of course, afterwards, 25 other European states joined that statement. There has been a lot of pressure on the European leaders to take an action on the humanitarian situation in Gaza, because there is someone that has been feeding Europe with reports and taking them, European leaders, on visits, on actually field visits to witness what's happening, what humanitarian situation is a result of that vicious war that never ends. Well, the credit goes here to the mediating states, but the biggest role, in my opinion, actually goes to Egypt. And that's not because I'm Egyptian by myself or me being Egyptian myself. No, let's take a look on Macron's visit to Egypt and the result right after it. Thanks to Europe, we do have today a kiss back to life and to humanity, to Palestinians that have been suffering this long. Macron has taken a field visit to Egypt, and they have seen how Palestinians are suffering in hospitals. Those few people that have been led to, they have been led to Egypt across the Rafah crossing borders, they are in severe cases, severe medical cases. What's Egypt's stance on this? Okay, let me explain. Egypt sees this as giving free land to Israel. That's how we would just see it, giving free land to Israel, which is the Gaza Strip, that Trump has plans on turning it into a Rivera or another real estate project of his. Okay, That would be perfect if we can do that with the Palestinians still on their land, not leaving their land. Because seriously, if that's not colonialism, then what other forms of colonialism would that be? We're giving free land to Israel. Israel has expanded in Syria, in southern Lebanon. There has been news on Lebanon asking Egypt's military for logistic help now to regain back sovereignty on its lands. So seriously, take Gaza for free, just take the land for free and let the people out to other neighboring to other neighboring states. Is that the solution? The UN, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, all humanitarian reports have been singing for the past year that this is a failed humanitarian situation for the Palestinians in this vicious war. And how did Netanyahu answer or respond to Macron's visit to Egypt or Trump's pressure on him to let the humanitarian aid in? He just denied. And he just continues on saying that he will continue to pressure people of Gaza out of Gaza, especially to the southern of Gaza, in the Rafah. There are two cities under the name of Rafah. One of them is the Egyptian one, the other one is the Palestinian one. All of the Palestinians, the 2 million population, have fled the war, have fled the conflict to southern Rafah, and Israel have been playing with starvation games, hunger games. They have played with tactics of hunger games on Palestinians to let them just move to southern Gaza, which is the Palestinian city of Rafah. And then this leads them to breaking the siege, breaking the borders with the Egyptians. And of course, if Egypt is put in that situation, would we face Palestinians? Would we kill them and tell them no, get out of our lands? No, but in contrary, Egypt has been pressuring everyone, taking UN leaders of the world to the borders, to the Egyptian Rafah, city of Rafah, and show them how all the humanitarian aid is just condensed there, to see what's exactly happening, to see how Israel is stalling on letting even the humanitarian aid in and playing hunger games against Palestinians. This is what Israel has been doing, playing hunger games on Palestinians, for God's sake. Well, thanks again to Europe. Today the humanitarian aid is in. Some pressure has been played on Israel. Thanks again to that kiss back to humanity given by Europe. And the record and the credit actually goes back to the Egyptian state, along with the other mediators, of course, but here the role has been played with Egypt, by Egypt. Did this happen because of the trillions Saudi Arabia or the Gulf states have fled the conflict to southern Rafah, and Israel have been playing with starvation games, hunger games. They have played with tactics of hunger games on Palestinians to let them just move to southern Gaza, which is the Palestinian city of Rafah. And then this leads them to breaking the siege, breaking the borders with the Egyptians. And of course, if Egypt is put in that situation, would we face Palestinians? Would we kill them and tell them no, get out of our lands? No, but in contrary, Egypt has been pressuring everyone, taking UN leaders of the world, to the borders, to the Egyptian Rafah, city of Rafah, and show them how all the humanitarian aid is just condensed there, to see what's exactly happening, to see how Israel is stalling on letting even the humanitarian aid in, and playing Hunger Games against Palestinians. This is what Israel has been doing. Playing Hunger Games on Palestinians, for God's sake. Well, thanks again to Europe. Today the humanitarian aid is in. Some pressure has been played on Israel. Thanks again to that kiss back to humanity given by Europe. And surprisingly, didn't happen because as a result of Trump's visit to the Gulf states, or the trillions that has entered the states ever since that visit. No, actually this only took place because someone took a look on the humanitarian situation that has been pressured by Egypt. Some leaders have seen enough of reports and enough on the humanitarian situation, and now we decided not to let starvation games on other human beings. Well, we have 50,000 people, actually human beings, killed in that vicious war for nothing at the end. And at the end, not only killing those people, Israel also wants to take the land. Well, that sounds a joke. That sounds really a joke. So, thanks for watching. That was a big thank you to the European leaders who took a step forward today on that humanitarian situation we've been witnessing in the Middle East, in Gaza. And thanks again to all the world leaders trying to take an action towards that war.